It's the Morning Brew with Elle Dawson and Gillian Robertson. Brought to you by Fight Bananas.
Good morning. Good morning. We are live. Yours truly, Elle Dawson, and to my left, right, I'm not really sure, is the one and only Savage, Gillian Robertson. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And those fights, well, especially the prelims, I will say, were on fire. Once you got to the main card, we had a little bit of a slowdown. Still good fights, but unlike the prelims, every single fight a finish and every single fight a banger too.
I'm just saying those new gloves are delivering on these fight nights, guys. I think it's a good change. No, so many finishes. Such a killer card. Like the UFC went absolutely all out for Seattle. And even with we lost 4 of the originally scheduled fights on this card, and it was still an absolute banger of a night. So no complaints here.
That being said, I was a little bit surprised at the fight of the night. Did you see what it was?
I did not actually.
So they gave it to Menafield and Walker.
Really?
I was very surprised by that. I thought that the Kudalaba Aslan fight or the Font Matsumoto fight, either one of those were I feel like back and forth, super exciting. The fact that they gave it to Menafield Walker, I was like, the fight, it felt like it had constant action, but it also felt like it was kind of like in slow motion the whole time.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was an odd choice. Yeah, I probably would have done Font and Matsumoto over. Which honestly, how did you score that fight? While we're on that topic.
I was honestly a little bit surprised to see Font get his hand raised. I thought it went the other way. I think it was a very close fight. I'm not mad that it went to Rob Font. I don't think it was like a complete robbery, but I definitely thought it went the other way.
Yeah, I definitely had I had Matsumoto winning 1 and 2. Good morning, Sean. Hello. We will definitely talk about Ricky Simone as well. But I don't know. I feel like if you can't, you saw a difference in the fight between Brendan Allen and Fluffy versus when Rob Font got taken down by Matsumoto. When Anthony Hernandez is on bottom, even when he couldn't get up in the first round, there's still an urgency to get back to his feet. And Font's just very consistent decision to stay down in guard. I think it's very difficult to win rounds like that on my personal scorecards anyway. But
no, I agree. He definitely wasn't doing enough from the bottom to be able to say oh yeah, he was on the bottom, but he was throwing up submissions, he was throwing strikes, doing damage, whatever. So I'm on the feet, he did look crisp though. He did look good on the feet. That jab is always on point.
Yeah, no, I really did have Matsumoto winning, and how awesome would that have been? To be able to be ranked, because I'm sure they would have ranked him at 135, and honestly, he still might get ranked. I thought he beat the number 9 ranked guy yesterday, so I'd be interested to see who they give him next. He's a really, really talented guy, incredibly well-rounded. Dude can wrestle.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that the wrestling, he was good at almost like a karate-ish style, I want to say, on the feet, like a lot of kicks. And then obviously wrestling next level, to be able to watch something like that, it was super impressive.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed watching it. Maybe we get to see him and Cejudo would make some sense. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Obviously we have to talk about this main event. I was gonna wait, but maybe we'll. Dude, Christian, I have not had my coffee. I don't know if you can tell, but it just hasn't happened yet. Gillian looks much brighter than I do this morning.
I've had my coffee. As you can tell, my eyes are closed.
My coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting through the day. We both stayed up to watch all the fights instead of waking up and watching them in the morning. So that might have something to do with it. But
we were troopers last night.
We made it all the way through. Anywho, let's get into this main event. Jason Herzog, best ref in the business. Just absolute best ref in the business. Way to make it happen for us to not have a freaking DQ or no contest. Like, way to make it happen for us to actually have a winner from this fight. But I gotta be honest, I don't think Henry Cejudo is a quitter. I don't think he quit. I think his eye looked pretty bad. I don't know if anybody in the comment section has been poked in the eye. I'm sure Gillian has. I have as well. It's pretty horrendous. And even once you can get your eye open, especially if you have a scratched cornea, like, you a lot of the times cannot see. And I think you could tell with Henry Cejudo's change of body language after they restarted the fight following the eye poke. Like, he totally changed how he was fighting. And it wasn't like he's gassed. Like, it went from, I got a 5-minute rest and I am clearly running away because I cannot see what's going on. So
I'm kind of back and forth with it. I'm not 100% sure that, like, yes, he did get eye poked. I'm not taking that away from him. I don't know if it was, I guess, a fight ending situation is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there was 2 times before. One they called it for the nut shots. But there's one before that where he got hit like high thigh and was like looking at Herzog like it was a nut shot too. So I'm like, it's things like and the fact that Henry was like, oh, so you're gonna take a point, like pushing for things like that. I'm like, I feel like he knew he was in a bad position. He knew he was in a losing position, and I don't want to take that away from him. I'm like, I definitely have been. I don't know if we want to throw it back to Priscilla Cachoeira. She was like knuckle deep in my eye while I was rear naked choking her, pushing my face away. So I'm like, I've definitely experienced it. But that being said, if that, like, say I didn't finish her, then the time went up and I had to continue the next round, I would have been 100% there, ready to continue the next round. Even if it is a little bit blurry in one eye, I'm like, I guess just me as a fighter, I'm going to go and I'm going to fight.
I honestly thought it was kind of a vet move. Personally, I did not have Song up. I'm with Christian here. I had Cejudo up 2-1. So the way I was watching the fight, I was like, this might be the most vet move ever if Henry Cejudo gets this decision right now, to have this go to the scorecards. And I got to say, like, I did go back and watch the first low blow. And it looked like it did catch the side of his cup. It did. Like, he had to adjust. The foot was there. I don't know if it was as bad as the second low blow, but that could have potentially been the third foul of the fight. I'm of the school of thought where there should be no warnings. If you foul, you get a point taken. So I'm already err on that side as is. I think with it being the second, possibly third foul in the fight, a point should have been taken regardless. So I am kind of on Cejudo's side with all of this. I'm also bummed we didn't get to see the rest of that fight, but the way his body language changed, like, he wasn't hurt. Like, he didn't get dropped or anything with the eye poke, you know? So to see the way his body language changed.
I'm just going to throw this out there that there's Shara Bullet and Michael Bisping,
who technically aren't even supposed to be able to fight, which is hilarious. I find that great. But
a long time. I'm like,
but if you're used to that, you know, like, if you're born without, like,
a
foot, you're more balanced. You're going to learn how to be more balanced than somebody who loses their foot later, you know? So I think it's a little bit different if you live a good chunk of your life without 2 eyeballs, a little bit more used to that. But no, yeah, they're both savages for that. I see both sides of it, but I also, like, I got to respect Cejudo for the vet move of, like, hey, I could maybe get this to the scorecards right now if I can't see, and not have to risk, you know, fighting 2 more rounds pretty blurry against a really, really explosive guy who's super dangerous, you know?
For me, I guess the reason I have this thought is, like I said, it goes back to that first nut shot. You see, like, a Pereira who, when the ref comes in, tries to stop it, he's like, no, I'm focused on my fight. Cejudo was distracted enough to be like, hey, come on, ref. Like, like I said, I watched it back too. I tried to look at it. I'm like, I didn't think the first one touched him at all. It looked like high thigh personally, but I'm like, that's where I'm like, it just seems like a distracted fighter to me, that there might have been something mentally there.
I mean, it was super close. It was super close. I think there's definitely some panic if you can't necessarily get somebody down and you're as high level wrestler as Henry Cejudo is. So yeah, maybe you're right. The only person who knows for sure is Henry, right? But I didn't see the pictures yet, so it looks like he has some cornea damage though, and I'm sure he did. It was pretty red. Like I don't know if you could see it. It was fairly red. No warning, as they know what the rules are. No, I agree. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Have you ever poked somebody in the eye in a fight?
And I don't think from what I can remember, I don't think I have. I might have once. I'm not sure, but I don't think I have. I've definitely, like I said, obviously the Priscilla Cachoeira, I'm like, that's the clear as day one where I'm like, she's literally her thumb like about right here.
Not her first time either, I might add.
Yeah. So I'm like, that one, I'm like, I know that when I fought early in my career too, I got eye poked twice and it never got called. I'm like, you just got to kind of fight through it. I'm like, I don't know. It's just, for me, I'm like, I'm looking at it from, I'm like, fighters fight. That's just my mentality, you know? So I'm like, you see fights where guys have their eyes swollen shut or whatever, and they're still telling the doctor, no, I can see, I'm here to fight. And I guess that's what I expect. That's what I would expect out of myself. So that's what I would want to see out of someone like I hold at such a high standard like Henry.
Yeah. No, I understand it. I understand both sides. I'm very much like, I love to see a fighter do that. Like I love to see a fighter come through and have like a Pereira moment, like you were talking about earlier. But at the same time, I'm also like, hey, winning is winning. So how nuts would it have been if Henry was up 2-1, which he absolutely could have been. It was a super close fight. How much of it, if he had managed to win the fight that way, that would have been, I got to give him props for the ultimate bet move at that point. But
yeah, definitely worth a shot.
right? We have not gotten into the prelims yet, Ryan. We will definitely get there because all the finishes. Nate Diaz is too stupid to know when he can't see, okay? Oh my goodness. But dude, we touched on the main event. This co-main event, I know G and I both had Anthony Hernandez edging out Brendan Allen here, which obviously he did. Some great grappling exchanges. I feel like there were definitely some moments that Fluffy made me a little bit nervous, where he was jumping the back a little sideways. He got reversed off of at least one, maybe twice with that. But yeah, your thoughts on this grappling fiasco as our jiu-jitsu expert?
It was definitely something that was fun to watch. Like you said, that he was trying to attack the neck sometime, almost like I do. So I'm like, this is the point where I'm like super like, oh, he just has to do this little thing and he would have had it. His head position's just off when he's attacking that neck. So it, like, he was attacking it without the hooks in, which obviously I feel like that's something that I guess I'm out of the box for doing a lot of times. So I'm like, I always like to see others trying that. I'm like, it's just his head position. He keeps on losing Brendan Allen, and he was able to turn his back to the floor because his head position was off just like a little bit. It was so close though, a couple times where I'm like, oh, if he just was able to make some small adjustments, he would have definitely had the finish there.
Yeah, no, and I think it was partially, yes, just going for it when he didn't quite have the right position, and Allen being a little bit wise to it, making sure he turned his head. There are a couple of times Fluffy did the same thing. Allen had like, I thought he was going to have a really deep rear naked choke, and Fluffy was just like, nope, I'm just going to go to my back and spin my head around. So yeah, it was fun to watch though. A lot of fun grappling exchanges there. I did expect that. I'm excited to see it. I like Brendan Allen a lot. I think he's a great fighter, but I think Anthony Hernandez as a possible new contender in this division is very exciting for me. I think that just makes it really fun to see him get this win.
Oh yeah, after his last fight, I'm like, that one was the first one that really caught my attention against Michelle Pereira. And I'm like, he just went out there and I think it was like 3 or 4 rounds. He just dogged him completely, just put the pace on him, was really making it an MMA fight. Wasn't just like, I feel like it's so rare to see people just be able to put everything together, like they're wrestling and striking and doing jujitsu all at the same time, where I'm like, so many people like compartmentalize the sports, and it'll just be like, if we're striking, we're striking. If we're doing wrestling, like you can't punch now. So I'm like, he's one of the first people I've really seen that's just like putting it together so well. And I've really loved watching his last 2 fights.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm interested to see who they give him next. If he takes out Allen in the rankings, if he's now number 9, which I would assume he would be 9 or 10 now. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting matchups around there. Obviously, Marvin is number 8. Roman Dolidze is number 10. They're both ranked against each other right now. You have Cannonier just came off a real big win. I do think Cannonier probably deserves somebody above him, but you also have Caio Borralho. Is he booked right now? Is Caio booked?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Either. Let's see. Let's see what Tapology says. Nope. He is coming off that win over Jared Cannonier, and that dude can grapple too. That might be a fun matchup to see as well between those guys.
Oh, yeah. I think I said it earlier this week when we were talking about Gene Silva. Any of the fighting nerds, I'm here for. I'm like, I love watching them fight. And Gene Silva just showed up last night. Exactly why I love watching them fight.
Dude, like, I don't even have words to describe this guy. Just he's so much fun to watch. Also, the call out too. Calling out Bryce Mitchell. Let's get Bryce Mitchell beat up. I'm here for it, guys. Like, make this fight happen.
Oh, yeah. I think everything was beautiful about it, from the performance to like he had a little like celebration after, and then the call out. Just everything shows that he really has like that star power. He has it all.
Yeah, no, 100%. Oh, this is a fun question in the comments. Who's your top 5 favorite male fighters and why? Putting you on the spot, Gillian. Top 5 fighters, go.
Not sure. There's so many fighters that I look up to for like, I guess, certain elements of their game. I'm trying to think of who I guess it's also hard to say. It's like top 5 favorite to watch or top 5 that I think are the best, because those are
Top
2
5
different categories.
Favorite to watch.
We all
the goats are.
If we're going favorite to watch, I'm like, I love watching Gamrot. I love watching it's a little bit older now, Beneil Dariush. I love his style too. Going with the fun fights with like Nate Landwehr and Darren Elkins, because they're always entertaining. Or like a Trevor Peak. Like a lot of those guys are just fun fights to watch. So I'm like, they're definitely up there for just going for fun fights.
Love it. Love it. I'm all for Gamrot. Gamrot's one I feel like he's kind of underrated. You don't hear his name thrown out a lot in that conversation, but he is usually never boring. I will definitely attest to that. We had all sorts of comments. You got some support for your fighting nerds in the comment section.
They're doing something different over there. I feel like, are really, you see so many people just go in there to fight. They don't necessarily have a game plan. They're just going out there to fight. You can see that the fighting nerds have like a strategy and a game plan every time they fight. And it's just, they're definitely just doing something different in that camp. And I like it a lot.
Yeah. Just the level of striking is pretty insane. It's very, you can see really, really clear, like trap setting, range. A lot of things that I think can be really difficult to coach, they all have it, which means either they're just recruiting freaks or their coaching staff is phenomenal.
Yeah, I guess they have a little bit of both. They have like, sorry, I guess they have a little bit of both. They have like, they are phenomenal athletes, but they seem just very smart too.
Yeah.
They're not just like meatheads over there just trying to push it harder.
Fighting nerds, right?
Exactly.
The name is proof. Crown and pound, it's just brutal. Yeah, we definitely have to talk about. I'm sorry, you guys are commenting so fast, I can't even click on the right comment. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We blew the Basharat pick. Man, I know Basharat was a huge favorite. I think 8 9, 10 times out of 10, I think he probably wins that fight. It was a super competitive first round, really fun to watch. I think he just, you zig when you should have zagged. And Ricky set up that knockout just so beautifully. It was like a cross between a jab and a hook, and it kind of just bumped Javid's chin up just a little bit, and the cross came really fast after. It was really, really beautifully set up. Obviously, hate to see a teammate get knocked out like that. I think Javid's a really, really talented fighter, but yeah, just got caught. Really, really nice setup by Ricky.
And I think you see it happen sometimes when you have somebody who's a super technical striker. They like the fight to almost be pretty in a way, like they like it to be clean. Where Ricky went in there and made it a dirty fight. He was just like throwing himself at Basharat, essentially, like shooting, striking, whatever, just kept on coming with a constant pace. Where I'm like, I think for somebody who is such a technical striker, that poses issues sometimes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think you can. It's a testament to the fact that the better fighter doesn't always win.
Mhm.
Like on paper, Javid definitely, I think, is a more technical fighter and a better fighter, but the better fighter doesn't always win. That's why our sport is freaking amazing, guys. It's the best in the world for that exact reason.
Even like I think you look at some of our champions right now, like Drikas or like Marab, they're not necessarily the best, but they just don't stop and just keep coming at you with a pace that a lot of people can't keep up with. So it's like they've made themselves the better fighter just with things that aren't necessarily technical.
Yeah. No, and we saw the same thing with Umar. Umar is an incredibly technical fighter. It just didn't really matter because of the pace,
Mhm.
We see it so consistently. Izzy versus DDP, like, which was I think probably a little more competitive than the Marab Umar fight until it wasn't, but I just, yeah, it's such a beautiful sport for that reason, guys. Fareed Basharat versus Ricky Simone, get revenge for his brother. Hey, I'm here for it. Both those brothers are so talented. So talented. Thoughts on touching gloves? Rob Font versus Matsumoto was interesting. When the ref is like, when we're in the middle and he goes, all right, touch him up and come out fighting. I touch then. I don't touch when I come out of the corner.
Well, in the UFC, they only do that for the main event.
Ah, okay.
So you don't have that option pre-fight. So I don't know. I go back and forth. I throw back to my last amateur fight against Cheyenne Vlismus, who I'm like, now we are.
You guys fought?
Yeah, we fought. It was literally in my hometown. It was my last amateur fight. So I think I was like nine. I think we were both the same age. We were both like 19 years old. So we were like babies when we fought. But I went to touch her glove, and she touched me and then jabbed me in the face. And then after that, I was like, I'm never going to do that again. So now in the UFC, what I typically do is if they're already in the cage, I'll circle the cage once. And if they're looking at me trying to dap up me then I'll dap them up. If not, then I go back to my corner and I'm not touching gloves.
Respect that. I like that plan. That's honestly a good plan. Yeah, because I've never had anybody like try to cheap shot me, but at the same time, like it's just like we're fighting. We're fighting. We can be friends afterwards, We can be friendly after. So.
No, it's like it when you see people like I feel like after rounds they're all like hugging each other, or like in between like round 1 and 2 or round 2 and 3, they're like hugging each other like, oh, good fight. I'm like, let's not make this friendly. Like, let's escalate the violence right now. We can de-escalate it later.
There's only a handful of times where I'm like, okay, no, that's fair. You guys can hug it out. Like Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald, like they're allowed to hug. Like they were that fight. You guys can hug each other. No one will think less of you.
That was probably one of the most ruthless things, though, too. Even like the stare off, the intensity. I don't feel like either one of them was trying to like bring down the violence. They were like staring at each other, spitting blood on the floor. Like
it's just pure exhaustion. Like,
exactly.
I was tired watching that fight. It's absolutely nuts. I'm with you, Colostrum. What a username right there. Matsumoto, I 100% thought won rounds 1 and 2. I have not gone back to watch it a second time, so I will admit that. But yeah, I was pretty shocked. We were both on the fence about the decision. But yeah, I think the morning brew should expand to at least an hour. Oh, I gotta have some coffee. It could make me late to church, Chris. I don't know. We've definitely gone pretty long on some Sunday mornings. Ooh, this is a good question for Gillian. I'm missing all the questions. I'm sorry, guys. Gillian, who do you have in the Lemos versus Lucindo fight?
I'm actually really interested in that one. I think they're almost similar to each other, just at different ages. So, I don't know. I really do like Lucindo right now. I would love to see her get the win. I don't know. I think I'm torn on this one. I think I would side Lucindo, but I'm not sure if that's just bias because I like her.
That's fair. That's right. I like Lucindo a lot too. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I think they do have similar styles, but I also think that with Lucindo, I think she's a little bit more active. I think Lemos waits more. And I think that could probably get her into trouble with somebody who can fight similarly to her, you know? Lemos probably has a little more power.
That's where my debate really came in, I guess, is if Lemos would be able to finish or not. Because I think Lucindo wins a decision. I think if Lemos catches her is my only debate.
Yeah. No, I could see that. Yeah, I would lean. That's probably the two outcomes is Lemos KO, Lucindo decision. But we have early event of the year candidate for sure for Seattle. Yes. Sean is calling you out. He says no, Lemos wins. Matsumoto should have gotten the win. Much love to y'all. Thanks, Terry. What's up? How can I get autographs from you all? If you send mail to American Top Team and address it to me and with a return address envelope, I will do that. I don't know, Gillian.
Just send it to Goat Shed. Same with the gym. It's easier that way.
Yep, we can do that. Just make sure you add a return envelope with some postage. Who do we have in the Patty Chandler fight? Okay, so I have so many thoughts on this. I saw somebody earlier asked who our most hated fighters were. I wasn't going to get into that, but Patty's definitely on my list. And honestly, Chandler might be too. I feel like it's this is a weird one because I feel like Chandler is probably one of the best matchups for Patty in the top 15 just because of his utter lack of fight IQ. But at the same time, like he definitely has the wrestling and the explosiveness to beat Patty, but I just see him making a bad decision and ending up in a submission. So I think I'm going to side with Patty here.
Yeah, I think I side with Patty on this one too. I think the UFC loves Patty as a personality and is trying to build him. And I think this is a good fight for them to get his name out there even more. Chandler's a big name, and I think it would be a good win on Patty's record.
Well, and I think it's one of those things with Chandler, just he won't fight any of the up-and-comers. So this is probably the only one that he was going to agree to because stylistically, he's a better matchup for Chandler, Patty is, than Grant or Moicano. Like, he doesn't want to fight those guys. They've been calling him out for ages. So I think it's probably the fight that makes the most sense for both guys in the rankings because Chandler doesn't get to fight top contenders anymore. I think at 2 and 4 in the UFC, like you've lost that. You need to fight a prospect, and Patty makes the most sense. So I think Patty's got it. I know we had somebody saying, I agree, Chris. If you want an autograph, you guys have to go subscribe to the Fight Bananas YouTube. Go do that. And then Dave will mail you whatever autographs you want.
Talking about that card that Patty and Chandler are on, though, too, the main event, Topuria and Lopez after Volk and Lopez after Topuria vacated his belt.
What is happening? What is Ilia Topuria doing? I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments on this because personally, he just doesn't seem like he's that big. So I don't know that that's the real reason he wants to go up to lightweight, but I just don't. I think he belongs at 145 physically. I think he had so much more to do. If Ilia is going for greatness, if you want greatness, do what Volk did. Why is Volk so great? Because he wiped out the division and then went up to fight Islam. Ilia should defend his belt more. Well, it's not his belt anymore. I agree if he was going to hang on to it, but he's vacating it to go to lightweight.
Yeah, personally, like watching him fight Max, they look like they're in two different weight classes.
Right.
He looked very small next to Max. So I don't know about the weight issue, I guess. But I agree. I think there is too many. I guess I'm happy that he vacated it rather
Right.
than just like trying to hold the double champ, because there is too many people that I feel like defend the title once or don't defend it and are like, I'm gonna move up and fight the next, like get a double champ. It's like, no, like take care of your division first, and then once there's nobody for you to fight, then you can go up. I understand that.
Like it makes a lot more sense for somebody like Wei Li to go up because she's pretty much beaten just about everybody that's right there at the top, except maybe like Verna.
Give it a year.
Do what?
I said, give it a year.
Give it a year, and Gillian will be right there, that title shot. But as of right now, I know you have some more people on your hit list first. So as of right now, I think that makes more sense for Wei Li to do something like that than for Ilia to do something like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, I don't know, I've really gotten to the point of just like tired of seeing people just like, oh, I fought once, defended my belt, or didn't defend it, and now moving up. So I'm like, it really does need to be, once you clear out your division, once you have no more contenders, then that's the opportunity you need to take.
Yeah. Apparently, Ilia and Patty have beef. So apparently that fight might happen. How does that fight? I don't know that they cross paths. I guess Patty could jump quite a few places if he beats Chandler. But if Ilia is going to go up, is he going to get an immediate title shot? Is he going to fight Islam? Is like, what is the plan? Topuria's short too. I'm very interested to see how this goes. This is a great fight. I'm sorry to jump, but I'm so pumped for this. Patricio Pitbull is signed to the UFC as fighting Yair Rodriguez. That's going to be an absolute banger. Absolute banger. That is one of my top 3 fights that I'm excited for, like in the coming cards, 100%.
I feel like it's always exciting when you see like the top guys from Bellator, PFL come over, and I guess like this, it's always the question of like, how would those guys do in the UFC? So like, this is like the test, the opportunity to show.
Yeah, and I think because Pitbull's a little older too, right? It's like 36, 37. Don't quote me on that. I can tell you in 2 seconds. Make sure I look up the right Pitbull.
There's like 10 of them.
Right? Patricio. Right? Yeah, Patricky is the bigger guy. It's the bigger one. Yeah, Patricio. He is 37. So I do think, I wish like we'd got to see it young, like with him a little bit younger for sure. But I'm still pumped for it. I still think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Yair will probably get it done, but I think it's going to be a blast. I would love to see Patchy Mix is trying to leave PFL now. I would love to see him in the UFC. I think there's a lot of really interesting matchups that could happen, bringing some of those guys over. We have so many comments.
Yes. I was just seeing in the comments talking about the Bellators, Austin Vanderford coming over, making his debut, and his opponent, I'm like, just gave up once he's on his back. I'm like, doesn't try to get up, doesn't try to do anything. I'm like, what? Like, I understand you can be like primarily a striker, but you have to work something. Like, you have to work some type of get up, something. He just literally did nothing once he was on his back.
I think you froze on me for a second. You might have just froze on me. I don't know if it froze for everybody, but I agree with what you're saying though. And then gets up off his back, comes over and pushes him while his back is turned. At first I was like, Grant and I were like, oh, that dude's going to lose his job. And Dana was like, dude, like Paul Daly punched a guy. Like, it'll be all right. Like, he's fine. So I guess you have to bite people to get cut that's
Good to
the
know.
line. That's the line. No biting, guys. I agree. I'd love to see Johnny Eblen.
I think Eblen belongs in the UFC. It's sad that he's over there right now and not getting like not getting fights, not getting the shine that he deserves. He deserves to be in the UFC.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would love to see him come over. I I would really I think it could definitely happen. I'm very interested to see what happens with this season because I don't think he's in the have they announced the 185 the middleweight tournament yet? I don't even know if they've announced it yet, but I don't know that he's in it gonna be in it. So I'm interested to see that too. Like what are they gonna do with all these champs that aren't in the tournaments, you know? So I know
Seems like they're just sidelining him right now.
yeah. Oh, and Aaron Pico's coming over too. I'm super pumped for that as well. I love watching Pico fight. I think he's really, really talented. I worry that he's taken maybe a little too much damage at some points because I worry about that, especially in a division like 145 that has a lot of heavy hitters. But the dude's wrestling credentials are just unreal. Like
Someone in the comments, even the GFL is more active than Bellator.
Dude, where are they even doing their first show? That's what I'm dying to know. I've asked like all the GFL fighters that I know, and they're like, "Yeah, I have no clue."
You hear Faber Barrow 3 is happening?
Barrow being in this is just that was the one that was the most shocking to me. Like everybody else is kind of like, well, you know, I've still been fighting. You know, I've been released from the major promotions, but I'm still fighting here. Like Frank Mir had a couple more fights. Like we've seen these guys around. JDS is still winning fights in bare knuckle MMA with Game Bread. But then we just see Renan Barrow come out of absolutely nowhere. And I was like, I didn't even know he was still alive. Like I haven't seen anything from Renan Barrow in like a decade. That was wild.
Yeah, seeing that this was their third matchup, it made me Google that their first and second were in 2012 and 2014.
Wow.
So we're
over 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, this is a great question, Colostrum. Who would y'all want to see Dakota fight in her UFC debut if she ever got signed? Ooh. Who do you think they'd give her initially?
I'm like, this is a tough debut, but I don't know if they would give it to her or not. But I would say Firat Manon.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh,
that'd
that
be
would
a dope fight.
So fun to watch. Or maybe Grasso.
Grasso would be a good one too.
Yeah, dude, we didn't even touch the prelims, and it's already been 37 minutes. Chris, you kind of hit the nail on the head. 30 minutes might not be enough. I don't know if I even have an answer to this question, but I feel like it deserves to be on the screen. Most manly fighters, according to you women, because you are fighters. Which male fighter makes you feel butterflies? And the no riz fighters? My heart beats only for Grant Dawson. Sorry.
Interesting. I'll just leave it at that.
Dakota versus Aaron Blanchfield. I mean, yeah, you could do that. I feel like it'd be more fun to see her in there with another high-level striker, personally. I love Aaron Blanchfield. I think she's fantastic, and it would be a great test for Dakota's wrestling, but feed Dakota to Tom Aspinall. I don't know whether to keep this guy or block him.
No, he's valuable.
he's valuable in the comments section. Grasso because she's the former champ. Oh no. She needs to fight a former champ. I don't hate it, Ryan. All right, Ryan, let's go back to your comment. Talk about the guillotine from Costa. How did that happen? Like, I feel like if you're already on top and like you didn't get the guillotine on the way down, like how do you get guillotined there?
I was just more surprised by like it just seemed like lack of defense from Feely, where it's like he got in the guillotine. Like Costa, honestly, did like phenomenal technique of like scooting his hips back, getting on the right hip, turn it, like everything was like perfect. Everything, and even just how he looked doing it, you could just see he was just like confidently waiting, no effort, just like chilling there, just waiting for the tap. I'm just like, Feely didn't try to like roll, didn't try to fight the hands, didn't try to. It was like he was just sitting there waiting to tap. I was like, what is going on here? But again, not to take away from Costa, because I think that it was phenomenal technique.
Yeah. No, and how long are his limbs to be able to pull that off? Like, it was very bizarre. He was almost like grapevining his legs at first. Like, he wasn't even closed guard, which honestly probably created a lot of space. But like, to be able to take, like, my arms aren't long enough to do that from bottom to like get the guillotine after I've been taken down. That was wild. The dude has got to be one of the biggest featherweights I have ever seen in my life. Like, Melky is just massive.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
Let's see, what's this question? What's good with Dustin's last fight? I know you know something, Elle. I know nothing. I'm sorry. You aren't going to catch me slipping.
I said, I don't believe that.
His kicks from Muay Thai really shine through. What a brilliant performance.
And I think all around it was a great performance from him. And even I hate it that it had ended up so badly for him, because that was a really nice double leg feely shot right before he got finished.
No, I was like, oh, that was great. Like, this is going to turn the tides, because, like, Moises beat Melky in Melky's debut with, primarily just out wrestling him. So I was like, oh, that's a good move for Feely. Nope, just didn't take, unfortunately. Costa looks like me, and I am 200 pounds walking around. He's a big freaking dude. I can't believe did he make weight on short notice, or did they do a catch weight for Moises's fight? Because I know he took that short notice.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that one.
It's just ginormous. I saw him at the Fighter Hotel one week. He was on one of the same cards as Grant, and I was like, there's no way that dude is a 45er. Like, it just doesn't make sense. This is a very good point. I agree with you here, Jake. Fiorot will not beat Valentina. Just doesn't have the power to keep Valentina off. I agree, and I think that's something that makes Dakota incredibly special. Is I just don't think there's a lot of girls that have the power that she has and the finishing ability. So I think that's why it would be so interesting to see her in the UFC. He would fight Chama. He might be big enough, honestly. 6'5" guy, weighs in at 165. 165. I was going to say, he's 85, right? This guy? Ruzbov? I don't know. There's conversations happening between people in the comment sections that I don't even know. I agree. This is another fight I'm really excited for. Silva versus Grasso. You fought Grasso. I was gonna say you didn't fight Silva. You didn't fight Grasso?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. Never mind.
No, not yet. One day, maybe. Not yet.
What do you mean, a lot of girls? What? I don't know. I'm talking about, karate combat. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Do you know? You might know some karate combat people.
I'm not sure. But I also see talking in the comments about the Gaethje hooker.
That's like a top 3.
Why is it 3 rounds?
Honestly, they could do a 5-round co-main event. They've done it before. Title fight. They could do that.
I saw Hooker's comments and he was like, win or lose, I know I'm going to be leaving that arena in a stretcher. And I'm like, just the fact, like, smiling about it, happy that this is going to be the way that this night's going to be.
I love there's like the side-by-side clips of them both just like totally just banged up. Like, oh, I love this. This is the best. I'm like, oh, you guys are sacrificing brain cells for us and we love you for it.
Exactly.
For it. All right. Who you guys picking for UFC 313? Do you have main event picks for Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev?
I think it's probably going to be Alex's toughest matchup, but I'm still siding with Alex.
Yeah. I can't pick. I genuinely can't pick. My heart says Alex. And I'm kind of with you, but I do agree. I think it's going to be his toughest fight. And I think Ankalaev has the ability to maybe mitigate a lot of, eat up a lot of clock by just wrestling. Even if they're not wrestling on the ground, like just wrestling on the cage. I think he has the ability to do that. So I'm very interested to see it. Let's see. Yeah, this is happening. Yep, Israeli grappler is going to grapple Bryce Mitchell at 180. So that's
Karate Combat Pit submission.
Submission. That's interesting. We got an Alex by KO. I thought it was 5 rounds for Hooker and Gaethje. It doesn't say it is right here, but it might be. I would like it to be. That would be nice. Hang on. I wonder if the event on Tapology says. Let's see. No, it is 5 rounds. Let's go. I was going to say, I thought they were going to do it, but you guys seemed very confident. So, but it is 5 rounds. So we are going to get that, which is awesome. Dude, Hooker and Dustin Poirier, one of my all-time favorite fights.
I was going to say, which is not good for their brain cells. 5 rounds.
No. Worth it for the fans. They give us a lot. Both those guys are like future Hall of Famers. It's absolutely going to be a banger. Uncle Dana said so unless it was a dream. Yes, 5 rounds, guys. 5 rounds for Hooker versus Gaethje. Do you have a winner for that?
The crowd, the audience.
The fans win.
We're the winners.
I honestly don't even know which way to go on that to be.
No, I have no idea, but I just think it's going to be a great fight to watch.
But it's a pretty solid card. You have Rufy fighting Bobby Green. You have Lemos and Lucindo. And then Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes is a fight I'm very interested for as well. I think Turner gets that done, personally. I don't think very many there are not very many strikers that you can match Jalen Turner up against that he's going to lose to.
Mm-hmm. I think Bahamondes has looked very impressive in his last couple of fights, but I am a huge Jalen Turner fan. I think he's one of the few guys that just has finishing ability, whether it's on the feet, on the ground. He can take you out of there, and I think that's so important. So I'm always biased in those fights. I'm always siding Jalen Turner.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think you have to be a really, really good wrestler to beat Jalen Turner. His length and the danger and the speed. He put Moicano in some serious danger before he recovered and came back. So it's gonna be tough. Wait, it was 5 rounds, but now it's not. Hooker said it on Submission Radio. What is happening? All right, we're gonna find the answer for you guys by Tuesday. It has been 47 minutes, guys. Jillian's just letting me talk and talk and talk. Anywho, all right. Right before we wrap this up, G, give me your top 2 prelim performances from Saturday.
Top 2 prelim performances.
Because we never really talked about the prelims besides Costa.
Costa's definitely up there for me. Cutelaba, I feel like you don't see a lot of 205ers with exciting fights like that. And just top to bottom, that was a great fight. Like I said, that was still up there in the fight of the night category for me too. And then I think we already talked about it earlier. You got to say Simone. Ricky Simone just came out and performed. Yeah,
no, absolutely. He did. And against an incredibly tough guy. So it's dude, what a card. This might be event of the year already. A fight night in Seattle in February is going to be event of the year.
Prelims were next level, honestly.
Yes, no, 100%. And I'm telling you, let's just do the new gloves. They're better. The fighters like them better. We're getting lots of finishes. It just needed the adjustment period. Let's do it.
Well, no, I believe that last card or the card before, they said that they're using the old gloves for all cards.
They switched it again?
Yeah. So for a while, it was only pay-per-view cards got the old gloves. And then
the fight nights got the new gloves. I thought this one, they still did the new gloves. They didn't?
No, it's only been 2 or 3 cards maybe that they made an announcement. It was either last card or the card before that they will be using the old gloves for all fight nights.
Okay,
for all cards in general. Yeah. So they're just using the old gloves in general, which personally I liked better.
You like the old gloves better?
Oh yeah. They just fit better. They feel better. I think the new gloves don't really do much for changing you for not poking people in the eyes or changing your hand. So I'm I
feel like it didn't help you that much.
They're very similar. It doesn't really do much of a difference, but the old gloves, they just feel better.
Fair enough. I actually have a pair of the old gloves. I like the teeny ones. I like how small the women's ones are. They're like the best ever for training. All right, no. So it's, let's see, first unveil. Well, that's a shame. I know a lot of the fighters do like them, but I need to ask more. I need to get like a full panel of fighters to come in and tell us which gloves they like better.
From what I've heard, every time, like, I'm at a UFC event these last couple of times, and they're like, "Oh, do you like the new gloves?" And I'm like, "No, I hate them." And they tell me, they're like, "That's what everybody says. Nobody likes them." So the UFC staff has been telling me like the whole time that every fighter's been trashing the gloves essentially. So I'm assuming that's why they went back to the old ones.
Well, I have to ask some more of the guys, because a lot of the fighters that I talk to the most, but it's only a handful of people, obviously, really liked them. But Francis Marshall, camp going great. Christian, thank you for asking. Grant will be cornering him, not next weekend, but the weekend after at UFC 313. All right. I can't answer any more comments or we'll never get off here. We love you guys. Thank you so much for making this almost an hour. That was wild. So we love you guys. We will see you Tuesday for the live show from 1 to 3 Eastern PM, obviously. But go subscribe to the YouTube. Bye, guys.
It's the Morning Brew with Elle Dawson and Gillian Robertson. Brought to you by Fight Bananas.